grown in so many ways. And there are a few things, Sam, that we're predicting that you will not refer to in your speech tonight. And the first thing that you're probably not going to say is, I'm sick and tired of Trader Joe's mac and cheese. Would you please bring on the Indian spinach and that spicy Thai veggies? I don't think so. Maybe someday. The other thing that we know that you're not going to say, Sam, is, my brother and I never fight. You really can't say that, Sam. Your urban argumentative talents were observed, or so your mother tells us, from a very early age, even before Eli was on the scene. You're nodding, right? Affirmation. He knows what's coming. And she tells us that at one time, you and a fellow Green Line friend were visiting a suburban playground. You were playing pretend inside a wooden train replica. And a crowd gathered, observing and listening to this play, and your volume increased. It kept increasing, and then they could hear you shouting, one shouting, inbound!
Outbound.
Inbound!
Outbound.
And it continued, okay? These suburban kids really had no idea what in the world you were talking about. But you were very determined to have your directional way. Now, continuing along that vein, we also know, speaking of the Green Line, which is basically in your backyard, you probably won't refer to the countless foul balls that you've hit over the fence and out onto the Green Line tracks. Right. You've now, I've heard, made a rule that if and when the ball goes over the Green Line fence, it counts as not only 1 out, but automatic 2 outs. Now, and I know something else you're not going to refer to, Sam. It's your bedtime ritual. This is unique to the Five L's. It's a long-standing bedtime lullaby that you and your brother sing with your mother. Come on, Sam. Sing along. Take me out to the ball game. Take me out to the crowd. Only at the ball. And on that baseball note, I would like to present someone who would love to walk with dinosaurs and the Red Sox, the argumentative mediator, the gourmand extraordinaire, loyal friend, and lover of Scout and the rest of his awesome family, Sam Fibell.
Almost home. Home plate, that is. I have almost made it home. It does not seem like 8 years ago when I started this run around the bases. Hi, my name is Sam, and I believe life is like a baseball game. Sometimes you get a hit, your hard work pays off. Sometimes you're lucky and you get a walk. You didn't work too hard, but your goal was achieved. And sometimes you strike out. You've worked hard, but you just didn't succeed. As Babe Ruth said, don't let the fear of striking out hold you back. One thing that NS has taught me the most is not to be afraid to be up at the plate, doing my best in public. At the beginning, in level 1, I wouldn't even open my mouth to sing. I have had so many good chances since then to work on this, like plays, assemblies, or this speech right now. How am I doing? My experience at NS was one of my first times rounding all the bases. Level 1 was first base. Kay was the first base coach. Level 1 showed me how to stop and appreciate nature as it is. I also learned all about birds. I remember being obsessed with finding birds, identifying birds, looking at birds, and most of all, telling anyone who would listen everything I knew about birds. These animals are now some of my favorite creatures, and I think that is all thanks to Level 1. First base was my first step, and it was crucial on the way to other levels. Second base. I was glad I learned about nature in Level 1, because Level 2 opened up the doors to science. I still remember making and flying kites at the Blue Hills. Just last week, I used the trick of counting seconds between lightning and thunder to figure out how far away a storm was. It was at my brother's baseball game, of all things. Science is one of those things that I never stop marveling at in my whole NS experience. In Level 2, I also studied dinosaurs, something that I liked learning about so much, I did my grad project on it. I also learned basic math, one of my absolute favorite subjects. Overall, Level 2 opened up more subjects and possibilities to ponder. This base was the next step to Level 3. At third base, I learned about new and more complicated, amazing things, like space and the ocean. I still have my real spinning model of Jupiter because it reminds me of Level 3. I was so proud when I got it to work. Joyce was the third base coach, and she helped me a lot with spelling and writing. For one assignment, I made a book about my family immigrating to America. I thought it would be boring, but while I was writing it, I learned all about my family's past. We rode to Ellis Island, found old family letters, and even drove to my great-aunt's house in Chelsea to photograph it. I just read it again last week, and was amazed. I wrote something like that in Level 3. It wasn't boring whatsoever. Joyce also prepared me for the last and hardest step, home plate. I've learned so many things on my way to home plate. In Level 4, I learned so much new science information, like magnets. Who knew you could watch a magnetic field using magnetic liquid? I was so glad I had that Level 2 experience to prepare me. I would say that my best NS experience of all was at farm school in Level 4. I really loved feeding all the animals, especially giving the chickens hickory nuts. I loved being in the outdoors, away from family, and with all of my best friends. I remember being in a hayloft, ripping and braiding cloth with Max and Toffee, talking about every book we'd ever read. In Level 4 class, I had my best friends of all. I enjoyed all the time I spent learning, drawing, talking, playing, working, or just sitting with my friends, and will always remember them. Teammates like these helped me at every base, and I couldn't have done it without them. I'm closing in on home, so close to my 8-year-long home run. Thank you.